Is a really fun necrotic-based warrior that you can really work with either two-handed or sword and shield. It's kind of in a mix of areas, well, at least that's my opinion. So this is my level 20 specialization for the Reaper. We can go over items, the skill tree, and all sorts. So let's jump straight in. And if we look at our skills, this is our skill tree. Now the amount of points we have available is here. Okay, now bear in mind you can't get this until level 20, which is why we're building our skill tree up this way. And we're going to start in the middle. And the very first skill we're going to take is to the top right. We're going to take Shield Volley. Basically, you can just keep throwing your shield if you... It's kind of like a juggling effect in like a fighting game. You just press triangle on the return, and you just keep throwing your shield. It's really, really cool. To the south of that, we are going to take Rancor. Rage takes 50% longer to begin to decay, which is perfect because your rage is what causes your abilities. So if your rage decays slower, it means between combats you're going to have more rage still available, meaning you have to trigger the abilities quicker. Now going back up to Shield Volley, we're going to go to top left and we're going to take Focused Retaliation. Gain precision after a successful perfect defense. Now precision is the next charged or final attack on an enemy will be critical. So if you love your light attacks, the final light attack in your chain will be a critical hit. To the north of that, we're going to take Titan Stomp. I love this, especially early game. Really nice way of applying Overwhelmed, which then works very well with your team, especially depending on your composition. To the top left, we're going to take Bulwark, because what sort of warrior we haven't got a little bit extra physical resistance. And to the top right of Titan Stomp, we're going to take Improved Throw, Shield Toss damage plus 10%, because the Shield Toss in this game is really, really good. Now to the top left of that, we're going to take Return to Sender. You basically throw projectiles back at enemies. If you can time it right, it's awesome. I cannot put into words how cool of an ability this is. To the top left, we're going to take Providence, Advantage Duration plus 20%. Not the hugest ability we need, but we do need it. Travel to the top right to get Masochism. You generate 4 rage when taking damage. Really nice way if you are doing two-handed, so you're not going to be blocking as much, or if you're not very good at like perfect dodges or perfect defenses, all that fun stuff. Nice way of kind of being rewarded for not being really amazing at ARPGs. To the top left, we're going to take Improved Health for 100 base health extra. And to the top right of Masochism, we are going to take Depth of Fury for maximum rage plus 50, meaning we can bank up those abilities. To the top left of that, we have Groundbreaker, another really cool ability. This is a strike control that does fire damage. So you'll notice we have a physical damage one, and now we have a fire damage ability. And this will detonate weakened, meaning it works really well with party compositions again. To the top right of that, we are going to take Traumatize for takedown damage plus 15%. Takedowns in this game are awesome. To get a takedown, you want to get the stagger bar full. So the quicker you get the stagger bar full, the quicker you do a takedown. Takedowns are hefty damage. To the bottom right of that, we're going to take Slam. Performing a takedown generates an additional 20% ultimate and 50 rage, meaning you do a takedown and then you immediately have enough rage where you could go straight into a bloody advance, which we'll get to later. Now, from Slam, we're going to come to the bottom right, and we're going to take Defy the Elements, Fire and Cold Resistance 10%, not really amazing, but we need them to progress in the path. And as I just showed, we're going to come south from there, take Bloody Advance, Necrotic-based damage this time. Projectile Duration spell applies Sundered, so again, it links really well with your teammates, it applies Bleeding, and then you can do a charged Shield Toss that will burst of damage to nearby enemies. Really nice way you can synergize this around. And like I said, once you do a takedown, it will give you enough to do one of these immediately afterwards. Now coming back up to Defy the Elements, we're going to come to the bottom right and take Master Throw. So you can just charge up your shield to another additional level, dealing more damage. And then from the top right, we're going to go into our Reaper specialization. This is from the Morn Watch, and it's really cool. So if you go to the top right again, we get our ultimate ability of Spirit Storm. This is an incredible necrotic-based ultimate. It's just like a necrotic, like whirlwind tsunami type tornado thing. It's so cool. To the top right, we're going to take the Reaper ability. Now, this is 2 rage, bear that in mind. Detonates weakened this time, and so just a really good duration strike necrotic based spell. It also applies Siphon, and if you need to know what Siphon is, necrotic damage over time, returning a portion as healing. So not only will you do extra damage to the enemy over time, you'll actually heal up a little bit, which is really good for a warrior. Now to the top of there, we are going to take Devastation, so affliction damage plus 10% and affliction duration plus 20%. Affliction is any effect that deals damage over time, hence Siphon or Necrosis, something like that. And to the bottom right of that, we're going to take Death's Blessing for 10% extra necrotic damage. Now for items, you want to take as many of these as you can, or something that's as similar as possible. So for a sword, I'm taking the Dark Shard, necrotic damage. I put a rune of 25% stagger on to get those takedowns quicker. You'll see as you level up, you get extra necrotic resistance, extra necrotic damage, critical hits apply necrosis if not already applied. Really good necrotic based weapon, and because of our passives from the skill tree, that necrotic damage is extra. For a shield, I really like the Necropolis Defender. Pretty good physical damage and stagger, but more importantly, deal 40 extra necrotic damage, and as you upgrade it, an extra shield toss bounce and shield toss charge, what a tongue twister that is, to maximum applies necrosis to the first target hit. And because we have abilities that improves our shield toss damage and charges our shield toss up, this is just a worthwhile shield to have. And I put a rune of 20% armor damage. Now for a two-handed weapon, I'm actually using the Crystalline Great Axe. This is a cold damage based weapon, but I really like it, and thematically I always feel like necrosis and cold go really well together. As you upgrade it, cold resistance, but more importantly, necrotic bonus also affects this weapon's base damage. Charged attacks will apply chilled, and I put a rune of 10% weapon damage. For a helmet, I really like the Karsus Double Hat. Pretty good defense and ability damage, but more importantly, plus 15% rage generation, plus 25% stagger on ability use, plus 30% ability damage if all share the same ability type. Really nice hat to help build up that rage to get those abilities triggered, plus the stagger as you build this item up, meaning more takedowns, more abilities. It's just a really nice loop we have. For armor, I really like the Brawler's Decorated Leathers. Really good defense from medium armor, but more importantly, as you level it up, 15% rage generation, 50% less rage decay rate. So as we have that ability where we can't decay less than 50%, and how it also decays slower, we now have a 50% rage decay as well as this item upgrades. And while rage is above 50, take 10% less damage from all sources, a nice way of tanking yourself up. For items, I really like the Hard Bitten Belt, so it applies high stagger in an area on potion use, and as you upgrade this, 25% takedown damage and likely to disrupt nearby enemies. So you can just drink a potion and you'll get stagger on enemies. I'll show you this in combat, it's cool. For an amulet, I really like the Burden, 20% damage while at low health. Low health triggers 10% earlier, and your health cannot go above 70%. If you don't have this, because this is a unique amulet, I would suggest either the Heart of Andraste for the enhanced damage duration, or the Token of True Flight for the 20% projectile ability damage. Now for rings, I really like the Precious Decay, 15% necrotic damage, 25% necrotic resistance. I put a rune of 25% rage generation on it, and as this upgrades more, 20% necrotic ability damage versus health. I should also note that on some of these you can also add extra runes. Where I am, I don't have them, but essentially you just want things that like build stagger or rage, that sort of stuff. And for the other ring, the Twin Palladium, plus 4 rage on a kill, plus 15 rage generation and plus 15 maximum rage. Again, more rage, more abilities, huge DPS. Now for runes, these are going to change probably depending on where you're going. For example, if you're going to fight Darkspawn, you probably want to put a fire rune on. For me, I've just done ones with passives, so for example, 5% to all resistances, 10% ranged attack damage, that will fetch your shield, and 10% damage versus barriers. And for your abilities, you probably guessed it, but we are using Titan Stomp, so we can apply Overwhelm, and we have an area control physical damage. We're going to take Groundbreaker, Strike Control Fire, detonates weakened. We're going to have Reaper, necrotic damage, it's a strike duration and it detonates weakened. And of course for your ultimate, the Spirit Storm. Now you probably notice we have 3 different damage types here. We can also apply Overwhelmed and we can detonate weakened, meaning we have some really good team synergies. Okay, now let's start some combat. Now before we go in, let me just show you, because I know some people care about this. Currently playing on Underdog, and what's really cool is we can have some really good team synergies. So if I was to come in here, I can apply Titan Stomp, which will then pair very nicely with Howden's Heavy Draw. So if I was to do a Titan Stomp, we got Overwhelmed on this enemy here with the huge barrier. We could then do our Heavy Draw, we'll get out of dodge, And we'll wait for it to explode, and you'll see there huge damage. Now, these enemies have really good armor, and as you can see, we can chip away at them. Now, I am not the best at this combat, I won't lie. But we can get our perfect defenses like that. And you'll see, we are still cutting through enemies pretty quick. Enough to get our rage up. So, we also have the ability, we could combo with Enfeebling Shot. So if we were to do a Reaper, or if we were to do an Enfeebling Shot first, on this one, because it's got more health. Just like that, we can come in here with the Reaper ability. And there you go, we have another big explosion, and damage to everyone. Now, we let our health get low. If I drink that, we'll now get the high stagger, thanks to our abilities. And you can see the stagger bar filling up quicker after that first hit. And that's the general gist of this build. Again, we have attacks like that, and now unfortunately that doesn't pair with anything, but Balara and Harding are probably your two best companions to use early game once you get to level 20. Especially since one of them has a healing ability if you need it, or in fact they both have healing abilities. And you can just keep doing things like that, get that heavy draw in, and get those big explosions like that. And there you go, we got our takedown, and now you see we have our ultimate, and then that just leaves the one enemy left, and as you can see, pretty smooth combat. Now obviously you're going to play more clever than I did, I'm just trying to show off all the abilities you can do, but that is the gist of this build. So I really hope you've enjoyed, and this makes your Reaper abilities and playthrough a little bit easier at the start of the game. If you have, please let me know in the comments below and let me know what abilities you'd use, what other items. If you haven't already, please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more guides and a let's play of Dragon Age The Veilguard, as well as things like Baldur's Gate 3 and stuff. And hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.